Happy new moon. New moons and full moons are quite important to me because they are totally part of my spirituality, and have become so over the last, particularly over the last 10 years. I have been an avid student of herbs and rocks, crystals, really anything from the earth. I've always been very fascinated with, and I can remember, from being a young girl, always loving the rocks. So what I do is I bath all my crystals and my jewelry in Himalayan salt water. That's step one. Um, I wear a lot of tourmaline here, here. That was weak. But at the end of the day, these can be negative energy suckers, so they need to be cleaned in the salt water. Tiger's eye, same deal. Shungite, the magic stone. This is full of P60 fullerenes. Very interesting. They actually filter the water that I drink. Can you believe it? I've got my citrine in here, aquamarine, of course, my giant crystal. So, everybody gets a bath. The stones and the rocks, like I said, and the herbs, that's kind of where I started in my spiritual journey. I am confirmed Catholic, and I was brought up with Catholic values in mind. After I got my confirmation, I never wanted to spend another day in Sunday school. I made that very clear. I wasn't going back. And funny enough, like growing up, there was this sort of negative about spirituality I found. And just about an embracing of atheism, which, is kind of where I thought I was. When in fact, over the years, I don't know if I believe in one God. I do believe in a higher power. And I do believe that we all need to, instead of listening to others, excuse me, in terms of how we should resonate, we need to go within and find what resonates to us. So many people unhappy with where they are in life and their choices and regrets. And, I think we need to turn that around. And I've found tools that help me overcome those difficulties, but also have given me insight and cause for introspection over the years. I remember being a little girl and my mom, and her friends late at night, reading tarot cards, and I thought that was just awesome. So, at a young age, I kind of got into the tarot cards, just reading them. What I liked about it, not reading the cards per se, but it was all the stories that were attached to those tarot cards, all the myths, the legends. I loved it. I was very creative and imaginative. So, those stories resonated with me. And today, there's more tarot decks than you can shake a stick at. So there are all sorts of different messages and meanings and focuses in those modalities as well. So again, tarot is a way that, you can sit down and hash out your story and maybe give yourself another perspective beyond which, in which you were looking in the past, just like the Bible does, just like the Quran does, just like any, document does, except, this story can go all over the place. It's up to you. And that's where you realize how much control you have in your life, truly. But also that there are some ebbs and flows that have to be contended with. And, there's karmic partners and there's, people that roll into your life that were there to teach you a lesson. lot of those, believe me. And I've taken each of those lessons very seriously. Um, more seriously than most. Um, I believe this is what it's all about, this whole path. There's no big, there's a beginning, you're born, but I believe we reincarnate, or we, incarnate, lifetime to lifetime. And, I am an old soul. I know that. I've come to realize it. It's an interesting journey, but I think the biggest thing is that instead of being programmed to one way, why don't we get out and explore and find our own way? We don't have to follow anybody. In fact, finding your spirituality is a very individual journey. It's at the beginning can be a bit of a lonely journey, in fact. But that's when you learn that loneliness, being alone isn't lonely. Again, working out of that programming. I like that I own my spirituality. I don't need to have other people teach me the way that resonates to them. I have found my ways. And I continue to introduce myself to all sorts of other aspects, but I don't ever go for the group thing. Pretty much in everything. This is my thing. There's nothing more personal than that. And I hope, I've seen the results of practicing these little things, like putting some salt and water in a bowl and throwing your jewelry and stones in. It's not hurting anybody, that's for sure. And I see that it helps. And again, it's kind of like the doctors try to say with the herbs, well, if you think it helped, that's great. Okay, well, yeah, it did, but this is an amazing journey. Even the pitfalls, I have not one regret. The only regret, I don't have any regrets. I needed to develop my spirituality on my own rather than be taught. And there wasn't, I had to wait till it came to a time that I was ready and had reprioritized my life to actually include it. Because you can't insert something like this if you're not willing to give something else away. Everything's a trade, right? That's my message for the new moon, and I hope you have a lovely one. Of course, I'm going to get on to my reading for the new moon. Enjoy.